This is the 2019 BMW Z4. And this is the latest version of BMW's little two-seat rear-wheel drive. This car traces its lineage back to the BMW Z3, which came out for the 1996 model year almost 25 years ago. This is the fourth generation of BMW's little Z3 and Z4 line, and it's been fully redesigned for the 2019 model year. And today, I'm going to review it. I've borrowed this Z4 from Crevier BMW here in Orange County, California. Crevier is the largest BMW dealership in North America, and they always get everything the best, the first, the most, the newest, and that includes the new Z4, which has just gone on sale here in North America. I'll start with a brief overview. Now, the 2019 Z4 is going to be offered in two versions. This version is the Z4 Supra. There will also be a more powerful version called the Mark IV Supra, which would later go on to become famous for its role in the Fast and the Furious, and is now generally recognized as one of the most desirable sports cars from the 1990s. But the Z4 is and so today, I'm going to review it. First, I'm going to take you on a tour of the Z4, and I'm going to show you all of its interesting quirks and features. Then I'm going to get it out on the road and drive it, and then I'm going to give it a Doug score. And for more of my thoughts on the Z4, click the link below to visit autotrader.com/oversteer, where I've also rounded up a list of the best used two-seat roadsters currently listed for sale on AutoTrader. Alright, I'm going to start the quirks and features of the Z4 with something called turn signals, which look very interesting, comfort access that makes it incredibly easy to the left and P to the right. Now, next up, an interesting quirk you might notice when you climb inside this car is the seats. The seats look nice, they look sporty and comfortable, and also they have a hole in them. If you look at the bottom of the headrest area, you can see there's a little hole. You can stick your fingers, so you can brag to people, yeah, my seat's got a hole in it. Yeah, I can stick my fingers through it. Can you do that? You can put. And so those are the quirks and features of the new BMW Z4. Now it's time to get it out on the road and see how it drives. And so that's the 2019 BMW Z4. You know, back in the 1990s, this sporty luxury roadster segment was really hot. You had the Mercedes SLK, you had the Z4, the Audi TT, the Porsche Boxster. They were all coming out right at that time. They all went head-to-head in direct competition. These days, the segment has cooled down a lot, and sales are nowhere near what they used to be. But if you're still looking for a two-seat rear-wheel drive sporty luxury BMW, they still make one, and it's pretty. And now it's time to give this car a Doug score. Starting with the weekend categories in styling, bland, dull, inoffensive, but not heinously ugly, and it gets nearly a 3 out of 10. Acceleration 0 to 60 comes in 11.7 seconds, and I don't think anyone would argue with a 1 out of 10. Handling is acceptable in this price range, but compared to the wide array of actually good cars, it's skittish and troublesome, especially at higher speeds, and it gets a 2 out of 10. Cool factor couldn't possibly be more obvious. It earns a 1 out of 10. Same deal for importance. This is a throwaway car, and there will be none of these left in like 9 years, much like the Suzuki Esteem or the Hyundai XL, and it gets a 1 out of 10. Added up, and the total weekend score is just 8 out of 50, 3 points higher than the bare minimum and the single lowest weekend score I've ever given out. In case it isn't clear, I wouldn't want to drive one of these on the weekends. As for the daily score, starting with features, isn't good for a modern car, but it's not as bad as some of the classics I've reviewed. It does, for example, have that aux jack, and it gets a 3 out of 10. Next up is comfort. The harsher than it should be, and it wouldn't be a joy on long trips, but it's acceptable, I guess, and it gets a 4 out of 10. Next up is quality. Is poor. Interior materials are bad, and I suspect reliability won't be what buyers are hoping for, and I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. Practicality, however, is good. It has surprisingly good cargo space with the seats folded at 47 cubic feet, and fuel economy is strong, so it gets a 7 out of 10. And then there's value. a new car for around 10 grand with a good warranty, and that alone means it's not going to be below average, but unfortunately it has few other benefits besides incredibly low pricing, and it gets just a 6 out of 10. Added up, and the total daily score is a reasonably respectable 23 out of 50, which isn't so bad. It also means I'd rather daily drive a Mirage than an 05 Maserati Quattroporte, which is true. Add it all up, and the total Doug score is 31 out of 100, which is the second lowest score yet, worse than the Trabant and just ahead of the Isetta. The Trabant, the Yugo, those are interesting bad cars, and that's why they score a little higher. The Mirage is just a bad car.